What does a 2-year-old need textbooks for? That thing is absolutely wrong. I'm like, I'm like, I want my son to play. If you forget everything I said, by the way, you shouldn't forget. Subscribe to this channel, please. Hey, welcome back to my YouTube channel. And if you're new here, welcome to the family. It's a good to be back with another video. And today we'll be talking about something very important. This should be important to you, especially if you're a new parent or a parent whose child is about to get into school. So we're thinking of whatever the age, actually, whether you're going back to work and your baby has to start crash or daycare, as the case may be, or whether your child has been home and your child is starting a new school, or whether your child has actually started school but you want to change schools. I am talking about what you should look out for when choosing a school for your child. Yeah. Okay, so let's get right into the video. So number one, ask around and go around. When you're school hunting, you have to go around and you should ask questions. Ask people in your community or in the community where the school is located about the school. Sometimes people have valuable information to give you, but I need to say that you have to learn how to sift information to be sure you get the right information, because sometimes people have what do we call it now, beef for school. They have prejudices, they have bias, and that can color whatever it is they say to you, because sometimes you hear something like, that school, their teacher are good though, but their money too much. So you must ask yourself, what am I looking for? Am I looking for a cheap school, or am I looking for a school that offers quality education? So if quality education is it for you, you know that, okay, this school is good, it's just that their fees are higher than maybe what that person speaking can afford. So ask questions, go around in your community. For me, I didn't ask questions, but I went around. We went to a number of schools, visited a number of schools before we decided on the school my son was going to attend. Now, I have to give a background. My son recently started school fully, but before now, he's had to go to daycare centers because I had to work summer jobs. So during the summer, and this was in my former community. During the summer, he had cause to attend two schools. So in all, to be fair, we could say so far he's gone to three schools. He's in a school that'll make it a third. But the first two schools, he was way younger. He was still a baby, and about a year, almost a year old thereabout. But they were daycare centers, and they weren't for a long time. He never did a term in a school, probably a month or two, because I had to work during the summer, usually August, September. So so ask questions. For the first school he attended, I didn't really shop around, and I have to be sincere, the school was new and I felt like, okay, and that's something that was very close to my house. It was very close to my house, and it went there. It was good. As far the daycare, I was never going to send my son to the what do we call it, proper school. But for the daycare, it was good. They had good handlers, they handled him well. The other school too, it was good up until the point before the handlers were misbehaving towards should I say my son. So it was good. But for the second school, we shopped around. We went to quite a number of schools. We asked questions. So ask questions, shop around, ask people. You ask your friends, if you have friends in the community, what schools they attend, how are their children faring. Observe children in your community. If they're on the bus, observe how they behave. If they are walking, observe, those things. Just observe those things. Sometimes you can even go to the school during pick up and drop off to just observe how the children, their attitude towards school. Are all the kids crying, or are they doing fine? Are they enthusiastic about school? Look out for that. Number two, check out the environment. That's the the environment, the school compound. So when you decide, okay, let me go see the school, as you go into the school, look out for the environment. What does it look like? Is it dirty? Is it spacious? Those things are important. It's not. Now I understand that many schools invest in the outdoors, because first impression. Like when you see their school, you want to come into their school, and that's very important. So look out for that. What does it look like? Is it dirty? Are there overgrown grasses, overgrown lawns, and all of that? Look out for that. And in the outdoors too, depending on where they're, for some schools, their playground is outside. You can check out that. So look out for that. What does the outdoors say about the school? What's the drainage system like there? If there's a drainage, what's the car park like? If there's a car park, check out for those things. What does the outdoor environment say about the school? This is very important. Look out, because your child will be spending time indoors and will also be spending time outdoors. Look out for that. Number 3, what's your first impression about the school? So my son's school now, this was my first impression, and I'll tell you. So we just moved into the community, and I was on bike one of those days when new, and I saw the school, and I was like, interesting. Do you have interesting, or do you feel like, if you feel like you really have no business going there? What's your first impression? And then when you get into the school, when I finally decided to get into the school, now a little background story. My son was not supposed to start school yet. We're looking at September next. That's September is not here yet. We're looking at September when the new session was to start for him to start school. But on the day we visited the school impressed me. I have to be sincere. When I got in, I loved the ambience. I loved the reception. I even saw books. Now, if you know me, if a school has bookshelves, not just like for there to be bookshelves in the reception, like for kids, they just had me. They got me. It just got my heart. But the ambience was nice. My first impression was nice. Now, this was a Montessori school, and this may be like jumping ahead of myself, but I'm going to mention this. We wanted our son to attend a Montessori school. So when I went in there, I wanted to be sure that the school, were practicing Montessori and did not just add Montessori to their name like many schools do. So that was important. My first impression was fantastic. So when you get into a school, check out your first impression. What do you feel? Now, I've gone to a school before, myself and my husband, in our former community. We went there, and the first impression was bad. Like the person who met us was just nonchalant. She was just like she was acting like she was tired, or she didn't want to come. They forced her to work, or she was not happy. It was bad. So it was a no. We didn't stay long. We didn't even get to talk to anybody. Like we didn't stay long. We just moved. And then even in our new community, I remember myself and my sister went to a school when the school compound, like we literally were standing there, and I think we spent about 5 minutes or thereabouts or more, but I know it wasn't 30 minutes, it wasn't 20. Maybe let's say between 5 to 7 minutes. We stood there, and obviously we're facing the classrooms, so it wasn't like maybe they couldn't see us. The classrooms are like open, and nobody attended to us. We just stood, we're looking. Nobody attended to us. It was when we made a move to leave that someone said, "Hey, good afternoon, man." And I'm like, "Oh, wow." So for me, I'm like, so anybody could actually, number one, there was no security at the gate. That's something to look out for too. There was no security at the gate to vet whoever it was that was coming into the compound. Number two, there was no, we got into the school, nobody attended to us. And I'm like, so it means literally anybody can come into this place, spend time, and nobody cares. Nobody took the responsibility for whatever was happening in the school. So that was a no. So look out for your first impression. What do you feel? Do you feel like, nice? Or do you feel like, Look out for your first impression. Number 4, and this is probably the most important thing you would do as a parent, or should I say one of the most important things you would do as a parent, is for you to do your research about the kind of education you want for your child, and see if the school fits into the kind of education you want for your child. Now, many times parents don't define the kind of education they want for their children. They just say, I want my child to attend a good school. It's more than that. What is a good school? For you, what is a good school? Does a good school mean the kind of uniform they wear? Because these things are important, yeah? The kind of uniform they wear, do they do, and permit me to laugh, do they do diction? Guess it's a rave now. I went to school where my child will be speaking British English. Is that good education to you? I went to a school that is crazy about STEAM or STEM, whichever, science, technology, art, and mathematics. I don't know. Do you want that kind of school? Do you want a school that is big on sport? You must ask yourself, what kind of education do I want for my child? And I know many parents want quality education, but you need to define what quality education means to you. For me personally, quality education in the preschool, that's in the early years, is that my child is exposed to an environment that, what's the word now? Pikes is curiosity. I want my child to be curious. I want an environment that helps him to explore. I want an environment where he can play. Play is very important to me, and that's a whole new video. We're going to talk about how important play is in the early years, because I realize that many schools do not allow their children play, and we're going to talk about that. But for me, that is important. You must ask yourself, what is my philosophy, if I can put it that way, about education? What does good education mean to you? You need to ask, and I don't know, maybe this is the first question you should ask yourself before you even start school hunting, because it would sort of streamline the kind of school. You won't have to go to some schools because it just does not make the cut. Do you understand? Good. So ask yourself, what kind of education do I want for my child? And every school you visit, you have to okay, does this match what we want? Does we match what we want? Does this match what we want? I had to say that 3 times. So that is number 3. That is number 4 rather. Do your research about the kind of education you want for your child and see if the schools you visit match this dream of yours. Okay, so you have to check if the school's value system matches your value system, and this is very important so there are no clashes. If a school believes in what do we call it now? Using the cane, and you do not believe in using the cane, that is why this will lead me to the next thing. You have to ask questions. Ask about the school's policy. Ask about the school's value system. Ask about their vision. Ask about their discipline policy. I think parents need to ask these questions. Ask questions, and you cannot ask too many questions. This is your child we're talking about. Ask questions. If the school feels uncomfortable about your questions, I don't know, maybe it's a sign that it's not the right school for your child. But you are the parents, you're paying money, you should be able to ask questions. Ask questions. Ask about everything and anything. No question is too foolish to ask when it comes to your child's education. Ask about the teacher-student ratio. How many children will be in my son's class? As many questions as drop in your mind, please ask. You cannot ask too many questions. Then check out the staff. This is very important because you need to pay attention to whoever is paying attention to your child. What do the staff, what do they look like? Are they happy? And I'm not saying no, that's not the point. Do they look happy? Do they look like they're satisfied with their job? Do they look stressed? Do they look like they're overworked? Do they look like they know what they're doing? Do they look like do they look friendly? Are they friendly towards children? Watch how they relate to other children. And this will bring me to another point of try to go during school hours. Now you may have to go more than once when you see a school you like. Go during school hours so that you can, just look out for some things. How do the staff relate with the children? What's the communication style like amongst the staff? Look out for these things. They are very important. Like I said, pay attention to whoever is paying attention to your child. How do the teachers appear? Are they ragged leaders? That means they're not paid well, or are they well put together? Now, if it's one person, you may okay, probably personal issues, like this person has no idea of fashion or something. But if it's everybody, that's a sign. Look at them, and do they feel happy? You can't be walking around children and be sad perpetually. Or as someone they say, okay, what if the child has a bad day? Not the old school shouldn't have a bad day at once. You get? So ask questions, check out the staff. Another thing is, this one will be 2-in-1. Look at your child's reaction and look at the other children in the school. Now, when you're going school hunting for your child, you may be tempted to go alone. And maybe the first time you should go alone. There are really no, I don't think there's a formula to this thing, but I think you should take your child along. How does your child react to this school? It's very important. You're shopping for your child anyway, so your child should try and, when you're buying clothes, you go to a boutique or wherever it is you go to, your child tries it on. Sometimes you buy, your child tries it on and it's small or stuff. So let your child go. Watch out for your child's reaction. It's your child you're taking to the school. You are not the one attending the school. Your child is the one attending the school. How does your child react to the staff? Now, I understand that this is a bit tricky because sometimes children have separation anxiety and all of that. But I'm going to share my own experience. My son started school at 3+. So yeah, is well, should I use the word mature, or it was mature already. Now, on the first day, they went to check out the school. I went with my son, and it was an interesting day because my son said, this is what he said: I am ready for school. Whilst we're in the school, I said we weren't ready to send him to school yet. We're waiting for December. Did I say December? September, when the new session was going to begin. But my son said he was ready. He said, "Mommy, I'm ready for school." And on that day, my son refused to leave the school. He spent about 2 to 3 hours that day at that school. We had to leave him. Now, that's one of the craziest things I've done. We had to leave him, and he stayed back, and he said he liked it. So check out your child's reaction. Now, after that first week, I think by the second or third week, we had some interesting. My son refused to go to school, but we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that later. But the first week, the first day especially, my son loved the school. So that was one of the things that prompted us to say, I think this is the school for this boy. So check out your child's reaction and check out the other children. Are they happy? So I went to a school one time. I can't forget this. I went to a school one time, and that was when my son was still about 6 months. It was just about to start crash, and I was trying to make a decision. Went there, and when I got there, I was not comfortable with what I saw. Now you have to look at, I'm an early years educator, and even before then, I've always taught. So I've always interacted with children. I've worked with children all my life. Now I went there, and the children were sleeping. Those that were not sleeping, they were looking drowsy. Yeah, at that time of the day, I didn't expect children to be like that. They were supposed to be active. There was they were dull. And I had a gut feeling that those kids probably had been given what do we call it now? Cough syrup. It makes you drowsy and all. So I had a feeling that the teachers probably gave the children that. And some schools, you don't want to get your children into them. They do all sorts of things because they feel like the children are disturbing me. So look out for the other children. How are they behaving? Are they hyperactive? Are they dull? Or are they, one child maybe go, the other, look at the dynamics and see if it suits you. So look at number next, because I can't remember what number this is look at the ambience of the school, check out the classrooms, check out the whole facility, really. And this is important. Now, if you go during school hours, the school may not allow you. In fact, they shouldn't allow you just go into every classroom and all of that, because children are working. They may give you an appointment. They may say you should come at closing or stuff. Now, check out the facilities. Check out the classrooms. Are they dirty or are they neat? Check, do the classrooms have manipulatives? And I have to say this, and I have to say this because this is very important, especially in the early years. There's so many schools that the only thing you find in the classroom is a desk, a chair, and a board. Really? Early years? Check out, they have manipulatives. By manipulatives, I mean what we popularly call toys. But these are not just toys. These are toys that they have an end in mind, if I can put it that way. Therefore, learning, really. Do they have manipulatives, blocks, puzzles? Do they have books? I cannot shout how important having books in not just in school, in classrooms are for kids, especially in the early years. This is extremely important. And if you go to a school they don't have, please tell them that they need to get books. And by the way, if they need help, you can contact me. I'll do it. It's what I do for a living too, So let me not even get into the fact that you at home should have a library. But let's move. Check out the facility. What's the classroom like? Is it so small that children cannot freely navigate it? Because that's the thing. Children need space, really. They need to, so that they're able to express themselves. What's the toilet like? Is it dirty? Is it neat? Is it in a corner where abuse can happen? This is the reality of the day we live in, so you have to be conscious of that. Well, if my child is in this bathroom, or should I say this toilet, what are the chances that if someone can abuse my child without any other person knowing? Ask questions. Is the classroom arranged in a way that helps my child's independence? Will my child be potty trained in this place? Ask these questions. They are very important. And look around, open your eyes. When you're going, take off your glasses. And some people need to put on their glasses, really, to look. Your Bible says, "Tong ping ping." Exactly. You're looking. You're an investigative journalist. You're looking. Look at everything. Check out everything, really. So, yeah, check out the facility. Number next, beware of false promises. Schools can promise heaven on earth and deliver nothing. Beware of false promises. Beware. Don't let anybody bamboozle you with how they are going to do this when your child gets in, and then they do this. All their children can read at age 2. Their children can count 1 to 50 and all of that. Remember, I talked about what are your expectations for your child's education earlier. Yeah, do they match? Don't let it. I've gone to a school where they told me, is it 2-year-old? Could we want to whatever? And I'm like, wow. The person thought she was impressing me, but it was a turn off for me. I'm like, I want my son to play. He's still in preschool. He should be playing. Play is the work of childhood. Hello. So I'm like, this is too serious. I beg. And I know that my son needs to do some serious work too. But hey, life should not be that difficult. Yeah, it's still a child. So you have to look out for those things. Don't let anybody bamboozle you. Don't let them exaggerate. Don't let them give you false promises. Beware of false promises. And another thing is that you should ask about the curriculum. Ask, what will my child be learning? If it's a Montessori school, have a child. You have to do. I mentioned, do your research. Ask questions. Like, okay, so this is what will my child be doing at this age? Ask questions. Don't go to a school, and this is my personal opinion, but I feel like I should air it. Don't take your child to a school where they are telling you nursery 2 reading primary 1 textbook, nursery 1 reading primary. That thing is absolutely wrong. Let your child be a child, okay? Ask about the curriculum. If you can, look at the textbooks. Let's not even get into the fact that what does a 2-year-old need textbooks for? But we're just going to let that slide. I'm going to act like I didn't say anything because I have my opinion about that. But we move. And the last thing, and this is the most important thing. If you forget everything I said, by the way, you shouldn't forget. But if you forget anything I have said so far, this is the most important one. Prayer is the key. Prayer is the key. Prayer is the master key. Jesus started with prayer and ended with prayer. Prayer is the master key. Pray and pray and pray. See, God knows your child. I have this great philosophy, or should I call it great because I think it's interesting. In the Bible, and this is going to be like a message, and I don't want it to be a message. Anyways, in the Bible, if you look at Samson, even Jesus, John, the Bible, you would see that God gave like directions. This is how this child will be. It will be a Nazarene. It would eat this. It cannot eat that. That's for Samson. It's not to do this. It's to do that. Don't do. There's no razor. Every child has a rule of life. God has plans, a blueprint, if I may, for every child. So God knows the blueprint of your child's life. So ask him, should this child go to this school? It's very important. Really. Your child shouldn't go to a school because your friend's kids attend that school. You shouldn't just choose a school for your child arbitrarily. Pray about it. Let the Holy Spirit lead you to that school that would suit your child, that would help your child's potentials, permit me, come to life. Really, ask the Holy Spirit for help. He can guide you. The Bible says it will guide us into all truth. It will not lead you into a lie. Okay? Ask the Holy Spirit for help as you go around trying to shop. You know, say, Holy Spirit, is it this one? Is it the school? Is it, is it color red? Is it this school? Like, is it this one? Trust him to help you. He knows your children better than you do. Hello, he knows their future. He already knows their future. So he knows what school they should be attending. So ask him, Lord, lead me to the school Jess should be attending. Lead me to the school, lead me to pray for the teachers. We're not going to get to the conversation, but ask the Holy Spirit to help you. Okay? I hope that you found this video helpful. I was very happy making this video for you. I hope that you really found it helpful. If you did find it helpful, I want you to like the video. I want you to subscribe to this channel, please. And I want you to share with your friends. Don't hoard this information. Be a cheerful giver. Share this with your friends and your network. Tell people to please come watch this video, to like, to share, and to come. I would like to read your comments, really. If your child is in school, what are the things you looked out for when you wanted your child to go into school? And is there anything you feel like I missed? Please tell me, I'd like to learn from you too. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Ciao.